Hello everyone, my name is Don Cholish and I'm a lead product manager for FootPrint Service Corps. And today we're here to talk about portals and consoles. Two different topics that are highly intertwined with one another, and it's basically kind of the layout of the screen and the content of what people are going to see based on different users and different personas and how they need to access the system and what information they need to access. So we'll go through configuring all that. So first, what is a portal? The most basic level, it's really an environment configured by the administrator for a specific type of user. So a lot of times you might hear the term customer portal is a specific thing that's floated around a lot. But you could have many different types of portals. It's really a different type of user. So a customer is someone who needs help. A technician is someone who provides help. A manager is someone who maybe oversees things. An administrator is someone who configures the system. You could have different portals for all these people and determine when they first log in what they're going to see and what they have access to and how the screen is laid out with all that content. Most basic thing, it's made up of a logo in the upper left-hand corner. It could be different per portal. It has its own theme, so it might be its own color scheme. And it's going to have a set of consoles that contain all the content needed by that particular persona. So when you first log into the system, as you navigate through, you're going to see at the very top there are a high-level set of tabs along the top of the screen, and those are your different consoles. And in them, they have the content. The default portal for someone is going to be configured on their system role. So when people log in, you want them to go to a particular type of environment. They might only have access to one portal. You want them to see the portal that you want them to use right when they log in. So you can configure that at the system role level as the administrator. And then some people might have access to multiple portals, so they'll be able to switch back and forth. As far as a console, what is that? As I mentioned before, it's a tab within a portal. So when you first log into the system, or anytime you actively switch portals, there's going to be a series of tabs at the top, one or several. Within the console, you have widgets, views, and actions. So those are the three possible things that could make up a console, and each one of them have multiple things, multiple types of widgets, views, and actions. So first, a widget. You could display a small search list, so if you wanted to see a quick list of maybe top priority things or things I need to do today, with maybe just the ticket number and the title of the ticket or the short description, that's it. It could have an RSS feed, it could have a report chart, or it could contain any type of custom HTML code, either configured by the administrator or by that individual user. A view can be a large list of records, so it's maybe my assignments if you're someone who's a technician or an agent. So it's a large list. It could be as large as you want, and it can have as many columns as you want with as much data as you want. Or it could also be a service catalog or a knowledge base view. And then finally, the actions. One of two things. It can either link to an external web source, just add a button that links to some other web application or website, or just providing quick links for creating new records. So maybe a button for create incident, a button for create problem, a button for create change request, etc. So next few slides, just a few examples of different types of personas and why you would want to have different portals for them. So this is someone, it says, I need help. So this is what's typically referred to as the customer. So an example of a customer portal, you might want to choose this particular theme. You might want to have this particular logo and have a few of these consoles at the very top. And you can see the very first view they get towards the bottom is this IT services. So we're showing them a service catalog as their kind of default view within their default console that's in the portal that they log into. Next, you can see a little bit different look and feel as another example. Maybe this is someone that fulfills requests. So typically someone known as the technician or the agent. You can see the theme is a little bit different. The colors, the logo in the upper left-hand corner is a little bit different. They have different widgets at the top, and then they have a large list of maybe things that they're assigned to work on at the very bottom. And then kind of the last example, maybe someone who wants to oversee what the service desk is doing. So this might be someone in management or an executive. They can look at a calendar and just when they first log in, quickly see all the assignments and what everyone's schedule is like today. There could be a change calendar. On the left-hand side, you can see there's a graph there. It happens to be a bar graph. It could be one or several of them, kind of just giving a high-level overview of maybe the high-priority incidents or whatever other type of ticket you're tracking, etc. So let's go take a look within the product. So first, I'm going to take you through the login experience. I'm going to log into the system. And you can see once I get in, this is actually a pretty clean system just installed recently. I'm logged in as the system administrator, and when I initially log in, this is my portal. So you can see it happens to have this logo in the upper left-hand corner. It happens to have these three consoles with the addition to get to other consoles and other portals if they existed. But right now there's only the default system portal in this system that I have access to. And then you can see it has its own color theme. So there's 3 slides I showed you previously had 3 different themes that didn't look exactly like this. So this is what you're accustomed to right after you first install when you log in. This is pretty much what it's going to look like. You can see by default at the very top we have built-in consoles. Administration, calendar, home is what you initially see when you log in. And there's also service portfolio, knowledge base, CMDB, address book. Most of these corresponding to the different types of containers in the system, which we have other videos to explain some of those things. So these are all the built-in ones. You have the ability to go in as an administrator and remove these from the default system portal. You have the ability to create new portals and add them to it, as well as add new consoles and kind of mix and match and have both built-in and custom consoles within your own custom portal, etc. So let's go take a look. Go to administration. And then on the left-hand side, we have this portal management where we have both portals and consoles. So let me just click on consoles, and you're going to see kind of that list that I already went over at the very top: administration, calendar, home, etc., etc. These are all the built-in consoles that ship with the product. If I go take a look at any one of these, maybe I'll go look at home, you're going to see it kind of has the welcome to FootPrints, and the 2 RSS feeds that ship with the product, a default list for my workspaces, and not really any actions here. But let's go actually create a new one. So when I create a new one, you can see I have a blank canvas here with actually 3 different areas where I could drag stuff on. The 3 things I mentioned in the slides. A console is made up of actions, go up the top here, widgets, by default go up the top here, you can move their location, or views kind of go in the bottom here. So let's kind of give this a name and description and determine where we want our widgets to be located. So as you can see, you can move them around the right, left, etc. So maybe I'll move them over to the right, so the widgets are going to go over here to the right, and kind of the left will be the main view area, and we'll add some actions to the top. Okay, so I'm making a console that I'm going to add to a new customer portal that I'm going to create later. Maybe we'll just call it My Stuff, so kind of a place for people to see things that will apply to them. And this is maybe going to be the home place for customers where they're going to land. So let's do some actions, views, and widgets. So if you go to the bottom here, I could expand actions, just 2 options, a new item or a new URL. Maybe I'll just drag a new item on. And I have the ability to give it a title and choose which item definition. When someone clicks on it, it's going to open a new form for. So I quickly typed in the text for my button create incident, which you can see is reflected up here, and I chose that when someone clicks on this, it's going to open a new form for an incident type of record that's in the service desk workspace. Next, we could come in and add some widgets. So if I go to the bottom left here and expand this, you can see the 4 things I mentioned in the slide. You have the ability to add charts from reports, RSS feeds. A couple of those come with the default console when you log in. Custom HTML, and any saved search. So maybe I'll add some custom HTML, just kind of welcoming someone, because this is for customers. So I just quickly typed in a title, welcome, and then maybe provided people with some explanation on how to use the page since they're customers. So please search the knowledge base, browse the service catalog, or submit a new incident. Maybe I want to add another widget, maybe some saved search, maybe showing them something like their most recent incidents or their most recent service requests. So I could kind of look for the searches here of all the ones that I have. And I have one called recent service requests, so maybe I'll add that. Next we can move on to the views. If I expand that, you can see we have some of the built-in views for administration or calendar, all items, a saved search, or a category browser. So category browsers, let me drag one of those in. So this is your service catalog or your knowledge base. So I'll drag one over, and maybe we'll first add one for the knowledge base because that's what we want them to search first. So I could go to this category tree. We already have a couple. We have other videos that explain how to build these things and make them available here. So we have our solution category browser, and we have an option view mode, a grid, or expanded mode. And I'll just call this knowledge base. I can then do the same thing and maybe add in a service catalog. So I'll drag it in here. I'll choose my built-in kind of service category viewer, but you have the ability to just build as many of these as you want and configure them however you want. I will also make this grid view, and I'll call this service catalog. And I think that's good for now. We could just actually save this console. Okay, so we have a new custom console. Now maybe we'll add a new custom portal. So I click on portals. The system just comes with one, the default system portal. If I click on it, it tells me I can't change it, but it kind of gives me all the consoles that are appearing at the top which ones are initially visible, which ones are closable, which one's the main active one, the first one, the logo, etc., etc. So what I'm going to do to create a new one, just to save myself time, I'm just going to copy the default one, just to kind of keep the logo in the upper left-hand corner, so I don't have another one. But you could upload your own logo if you want. And maybe I'll just call this Customer Portal. So maybe now I'll choose a different theme besides the default one, which we're used to. We'll go with this dark theme. They just all look a little bit different. Allow anonymous access is if you wanted to just create a URL for someone to quickly get to and maybe browse a knowledge base or a service catalog without having to log in. They could easily get to the portal just by going to a location without having to log in. But it looks like we have all this stuff here, so maybe we'll get rid of all these things for now, and we'll just add this My Stuff to the list. Also, maybe I'll just add administration as well. So it doesn't necessarily make sense to have administration on a customer portal, but as you're going to see, as you're the administrator configuring this, you're probably going to want to have easy access to go back and forth to administration while you're viewing what the customer portal looks like in view mode. And then the role will prevent the customers actually themselves from seeing it. So let's make the My Stuff the active one, and we'll make administration not initially visible, and we'll also make it closable. So I'll save this portal. Okay, so now what I'm going to have to do is go into the roles and make sure everyone that logs in as a customer, so has the customer system level role, make sure that their default portal is going to be this one that we just created. So you can see right in the very first page, we have the customer portal, the default system portal. We'll make the customer one their default, and actually we'll completely take away availability to the default system portal altogether. And I'll save this. So now I'm going to quickly switch to a new login screen where I could log in as someone who already is an existing customer. And you're going to see when we log in with them, they're going to get that new default portal, like with the new color scheme, the dark, the same logo. You can see they're going to get access to the knowledge base, and they can kind of browse through the different categories of the knowledge base. You can switch over to a service catalog. They're going to see the welcome message. They're going to see the recent service requests in a list here. Obviously, they don't have any yet. As I switch back to where I was logged in as the admin, I quickly refreshed the screen to make sure all the changes took effect. But you can see now I have access to the default system portal and also now the customer portal. And I could switch as the administrator. And you noticed before there was no administration option for someone that was the customer, but for me as the administrator, I have the administration option. So we'll go back and look at that. But also, one thing you probably noticed is I added that create incident button and showing up here, but it wasn't initially showing up. This is because we also have to adjust that person's role to make sure they're allowed to create incidents. So we'll just do that real quickly as well. This is why it's helpful to have administration added to this, so as you're here you could actually kind of go through and play with it. So we'll go back to roles, and we're looking for the service desk role to be able to create an incident. I could kind of just quickly come in here and filter by my container name. And under the service desk, I want to go to the customer read submit edit role and edit that and just make sure that they have access to incident and save. Now I should quickly be able to switch back to where I'm logged in as the customer, do a quick refresh, and you're going to see the create incident button is there now.